Hey everyone, this is James Morgan, founder, composer, producer of the Ghost Jazz Trio, and hope everyone's doing great. Welcome to 2024, and I got some updates about some upcoming shows and some other news. So I want to thank all my people that have subscribed to the Ghost Jazz Trio channel. Really appreciate it, and I hope this video finds everyone well. 2024, despite the weather, a lot of things going on around the world. Anyway, I did want to tell everyone that let everyone know that I don't do a lot of public shows. The Ghost Jazz Trio I do mostly corporate private events, but wanted to update you on a few live shows coming up, starting on with February 9th. And we'll be at Madame Bonnie's in San Diego. It's at 4th and Market in the Gas Lamp downtown San Diego, California. We'll be playing from 7 to 9. I'll be joined by renowned bassist Nathan Brown, who's been touring with Coco Montoya and a bunch of other notables. He's usually on tour when he's in town. At the same time that I can book a show, I like having him come down so we can play, So in addition to Nathan on drums, I have Trace Hodgins, great drummer, and he was on my last album, Groove and Smooth. Also wanted to let everyone know that Groove and Smooth came in at number 73 in the top 100 albums of 2023 on the Smooth Jazz charts, and that's basically a result of 92 plus reporting stations around the world and how many spins you get. So I think I got about 6,000 spins, 6,000 and change. So that put me at number 73. Very proud of that, and it was a great album, great project to work on, produced by Dean Brown, legendary guitarist Dean Brown, who also plays on the album, helped compose the songs, and did all the arrangements for the music, most of them. And so that's doing really well. You can purchase that album. Also, my previous 3 albums, that was my 4th album in 4 years. The first one was Invisible Time, released in 2020, 2021. Was Dreams on the Level, and that featured Patrick Yondall and guest artists on guitar. And also my 3rd album, which was titled Dreams Above, where I combined strings, cello, and violin in a smooth jazz format. Always wanted to do that. Turned out pretty well. So you can enjoy those 3 albums. In my last album, Groove and Smooth, which debuted in the top 100. As well as the other 3 albums. And you can purchase all those on the ghostjazztrioband.com. Just go to the Ghost store and or ask Siri or Alexa to play the albums. It's always nice to support your independent musicians like myself by purchasing the digital albums. The way the industry is today, most of the corporations, somehow they've arranged it over the last couple decades where they're able to just basically own your music, where they can just stream it, make tons of money off of the streaming platform fees they charge, and then they pay the musicians of the music they play fractions of a penny, which is it's criminal, really, but what are you going to do? Purchasing music from musicians that you like, buying their albums, supports them directly. The money goes directly to them, not these huge corporations that pretty much, dictate what you're going to hear. And then, of course, all these top artists that you see on these sites, a lot of it is just from bots that they put on there to play the songs thousands of times an hour, so that they can get up the charts, because obviously you go up the charts for how many spins you get. And they also, some of these platforms extended the time to longer to listen to before you get paid, which doesn't make any sense. So anyway, coming back to February 9th, I have Nathan Brown on bass. Um, and then I have Jack Nathan on drums. Trace Hodgins on drums, as I mentioned. He was on my last album. And then I have local sax player, Joseph Luna, playing sax and flute. So it's really a quartet playing at Madame Bonnie's on February 9th. It's a Friday. And then Valentine's Day, which is a Wednesday, February 14th. I'll be playing in Carlsbad, California, at a restaurant called the La Papagayo. Very popular place, nice big stage. Um, I'll be joined by Jack Nathan on drums, who is on my 3 previous albums and does most of the shows with me. And then also Lance Jefferson, great bass player, local bass player in the area. And so we'll be doing that from 6 to 9. That'll be at La Papagayo. And then on March 16th, which is a Friday or Saturday, I believe, we'll be at Madame Bonnie's again from 6 or 7 to 9. And I'll be joined by Lance Jefferson, Jack Nathan, and Joseph Luna again, and then possibly Chase Pato, who was on my last album on keyboards. And all these shows, you can go to Eventbrite. You can get general seating tickets. I think a couple of them are sold out, but there is a disclaimer there to get in. It's free general seating, so you have to call the restaurant, book a table, ask them to seat you near the band, of course. That always helps. So I have those 3 shows coming up. I do mostly corporate. I have some private events, things like that. No need to mention those. But I also want to mention that my album I've been working on, A Soul in Time, which I've been working on since last June, composing the songs and arranging and things like that, is due out this year. It's a Dean Brown production. Legendary guitarist Dean Brown helped arrange and produce the songs. And I'll be joined by Gary Husband on drums. And he also plays synthesizer, keyboards, acoustic, electric piano, and then Hadrian Farad on bass. So that album we're still working on, should be out hopefully by summer at least. And I'll be playing Solid Body, which I haven't played in about 5 years. I'm playing my Pat Metheny signature guitar for a lot of the rhythm music. It's a jazz fusion album, kind of reminiscent of the 70s vibe. In fact, you can go to the ghostjazztrioband.com and go to the Ghost store, and you can actually buy some snippets of my forthcoming album with Gary Husband and Hadrian Farad. Very rough mix. It's not the mastered mix, but I've been getting a lot of people curious about what's going to sound like. So I posted a couple clips up there, a few of them. So go ahead and do that and leave a review. I got some nice reviews. One said it was very John McLaughlin-ish, which is a very nice compliment, kind of what I was going for. And I'm currently, reacclimating myself with my Solid Body, finding the right tones for each song. And Hadrian and Gary were able to tell some really nice stories with their playing on the songs. And I want to make sure that I complement those stories with my own. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm working real hard every day, playing with my solo sections there, and working on my tones that I want to come up with, and maybe some synth tones. I'm still experimenting. So that album will be out, Soul in Time, a Dean Brown production. It should be coming out on Guitar One Records. And again, it's a jazz fusion album. So looking forward to that. And other than that, just enjoying practicing every day as usual, playing a lot of music, as much live as I can, as I enjoy the improv format, where you can really connect with the other musicians. It's great to play with musicians that can improvise There's a lot of musicians that read. I don't read. I'm self-taught. Um, a lot of musicians that read don't really improvise that well, and I think it's just because their mind has been so indoctrinated with all these formats that they feel they need to play with, and they're become reliant on. They're not able to just be free, you know. And I love playing live because when you play live and you're improvising, you can push the boundaries for yourself because that's your time to experiment, not necessarily at private events or corporate events because your background music, you tone it down, you just play some nice tunes. But in clubs, you can kind of bust loose a little bit. So, you know, I'd hit some bad notes sometimes it was considered, or maybe I'm out of key, I play in the wrong key. But I'm trying to push myself to get out of the comfort zone and find new things to do, maybe that I've practiced at home, and see if I can work them into my riffs, you know, at shows. So that's the fun of it. It's fun to be in that form. That's why I love jazz because you can do that. You know, it's great, and all the different time signatures, which I love. I like my songs on my new album. There's one song that has like 3 or 4 different time signatures: 6/8, 5/4, 7, or 6/4, 7/8. But you know, people say those are odd time signatures, but to me, they don't feel odd because I've always played in that format since my roots were kind of developed from the whole fusion era of Mahavishnu Orchestra, Larry Coryell, and Chick Corea, Return to Forever. In fact, I took lessons from Bill Connors when I was in my late teens. He lived in Half Moon Bay. I lived in Santa Cruz. I used to drive up every week, take lessons, and we became good friends and attended a classical guitar festival in Carmel, stayed at my brother's house. So, you know, I've had some great experiences. In fact, Return to Forever played in Santa Cruz, and they played at a place called Margaritaville, of all names. And I ended up going back to their hotel room. They invited me. Al Di Meola was with them at the time, and he would set up a little tape recorder on the stage and record their music. And I think he had asked me to turn it on or off or something. So at the end of the night, they, you know, appreciated it and say, "Hey, you want to come back to our hotel?" It was the Dream Inn in Santa Cruz. So I went back there, and I remember sitting in the hotel room, and there was Lenny White with a girl on each side at the end of the bed, sitting at the end of the bed with his sombrero and boa, pink boa around his neck. And then Stanley was on the other bed leaning back, and he had a book with him that was Dianetics, Scientology. And I was familiar with the book, so we would talk about the book. And then Al Di Meola was out on the balcony talking to some girl and drinking a beer. And I remember vividly Chick Corea knocking on the door, telling the guys that he was headed up to San Francisco for the next show. And I remember Al threw the beer bottle off the deck into the swimming pool down below because the Scientology thing, Chick was very adamant about. They weren't supposed to be drinking or anything. So that was kind of a fun experience. So, you know, I've kind of always been on the fringe of the fusion genre world family community, but it's nice to finally be at my age, you know, playing with Gary Husband and Adrian Farad, 2 of the best fusion players on the planet right now, and the 2 top on-call musicians around the world. Gary's in Panama playing with Billy Cobham. He just toured with John McLaughlin's final tour, and the Shakti tour that, yeah, I think he opened for them with his duo with the guitarist. And then, of course, Adrian's all over the world playing with everybody. So it's an honor to have them on the album. And I couldn't think of 2 better people to have on the album because they get it. They get that kind of music, you know. You know, so many fusion musicians these days and other musicians still play the stuff they played in the 70s. Like a lot of these bands that go out, you know, they're in their 70s and they're out there playing the same songs they did 40, 50 years ago instead of coming up with new stuff. And except for like people like John McLaughlin, who's constantly reinvented himself, and you know, with Fourth Dimension with Gary Husband was in that band, and then but then you have people like Al Di Meola, who's I love his acoustic stuff, his original new stuff. When he plays mostly in Europe, tours with that stuff. But when he's doing an electric tour where he's playing with his Les Paul he hadn't picked up since the 70s, and they're playing the songs he played in the 70s. And it's just, to me, it's like, come up with something new. To me, people who play the same stuff over and over, it's like a lounge act to me. Might as well be in Vegas. But, I guess people want to hear it and relive their childhood experiences or younger years experiences and hear what they used to hear. But to be honest with you, those days, he was on fire back then. I don't think he's anywhere close to where he was back then. Besides having his hearing problems and other things, with the loudness. And, back then, even Stanley Clarke and those guys, I mean, they were at the top of their game. They were on fire. They don't play like they did back then. I can hear the difference. There's the fire isn't there. You have great new guitar players out these days, Matteo Mancuso, and, and other ones. And, but you don't hear musicians like the old Fusion days when they were creating the new music. So the album I'm trying to do is kind of trying to harken back to that and create new music, new jazz fusion, and really excited about getting the album out there. So A Soul in Time will be out this year. If you're in the local area, come by and see the Ghost Jazz Trio. And I appreciate everybody, again, subscribing to the YouTube channel, Ghost Jazz Trio. And you can also follow on Facebook, Ghost Jazz Trio, Instagram, and Twitter. And go to the ghostjazztrioband.com. You'll find all the albums there. And that's pretty much it. So I hope everyone has a great 2024. Happy New Year's to everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And thanks for watching.